What if I told you that one Washington quarter sitting in your pocket right now could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, and most Americans have no idea they're holding real money they shouldn't spend? Today's video is going to expose the Washington quarter-dollar coins that people overlook every single day, even though some of them are skyrocketing in value in today's market. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the rare dates, hidden mint marks, and small details that turn an ordinary quarter into a serious treasure. If you want the best chance of finding valuable coins, you must stay all the way to the end, because the most valuable discoveries are never where you expect them. And before we jump in, make sure you subscribe to Coins Most Valuable, because you don't want to miss any of the powerful coin secrets coming up next. Coin number 1. What if I told you that one of the most ordinary everyday coins in America has secretly become one of the most hunted treasures in the entire Washington Quarter series? And what if I told you that millions of people walk past this rare coin every single day without even realizing they might be holding a coin that could change their life? Today, we're diving deep into the 1965 Washington Quarter with no mint mark, a coin that most people assume is common, but collectors know it hides some of the biggest surprises, some of the wildest prices, and some of the rarest errors ever discovered. So don't skip a second, because what you'll hear today might make you check every single quarter you've ever owned. The 1965 Washington Quarter has become a legend in the numismatic world, not because it's old or scarce in terms of mintage, but because of what happened in America during that exact moment. The U.S. Mint was facing one of the biggest coin shortages in history, silver prices were rising, people were hoarding every coin they could find, and suddenly the Mint had to make a decision that would change the future of American coinage forever. That is the world the 1965 quarter was born into, a world where the old silver quarters were disappearing and new clad quarters were being rushed into production at lightning speed. Because of this chaos, the 1965 quarter became one of the most unpredictable coins ever struck. The change from silver to clad was not clean. Mistakes were made. Wrong planchet strikes slipped through. Some coins were minted using leftover silver blanks. Others were struck on transitional materials never intended for circulation. And then there are the machine coins, the weak strikes, the double dies, and the mint errors that collectors now chase like treasure hunters chasing gold. This is why the 1965 quarter with no mint mark has become a coin that no American collector can afford to ignore. Even though the coin has no mint mark, every single 1965 quarter holds potential. The lack of mint mark doesn't mean lack of value. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Because everything was rushed, everything was pushed to maximum capacity, and everything was done under pressure, coins that look ordinary on the outside often hide extraordinary traits on the inside. That means every 1965 quarter you check could reveal something no one else noticed before. And that's exactly why collectors stay obsessed with this date. One of the most famous mysteries surrounding the 1965 quarter is the existence of silver strikes. These coins were never supposed to be silver, but leftover silver planchets from 1960 somehow slipped into the presses. When those few coins made their way into circulation, nobody knew. They looked the same to the casual eye, but they sounded different, weighed different, and today they sell for massive amounts of money. If you've ever had a 1965 quarter that seemed a little different, you might have held one of the rarest coins in modern American history. Another reason this coin is so valuable is because the U.S. Mint didn't include a mint mark on quarters for several years during this transitional period. Many people think the lack of a mint mark means the coin is less interesting, but the truth is exactly the opposite. No mint mark means it could have been produced in Philadelphia, but in 1965 the Mint also experimented with removing mint marks to discourage hoarding. That experiment created confusion, and confusion is what gives collectors the chance to discover rare errors that were overlooked at the time. The 1965 quarter is also one of the most misidentified coins in circulation. Many people confuse it with the silver quarters from previous years, and many others assume it has no value because it's clad. But the collectors who know the history understand that the year 1965 is special, rare, and full of opportunity. And when a coin has a story like this, a story of transition, pressure, error, and experimentation, it becomes far more than just a simple quarter. It becomes a piece of American history that lives in your pocket. Now, let's talk about what makes these quarters valuable today. First, any 1965 quarter struck on a silver planchet is instantly a treasure. These coins have sold for tens of thousands of dollars, and collectors are constantly searching for them. But even the clad versions can be valuable depending on strike strength, planchet errors, edge defects, die varieties, or any irregularity caused by the rush of production. A strong strike, a clean surface, or a sharp detail can take this common-looking coin and push it into serious value territory. Collectors also pay attention to the weight. The silver transitional errors weigh around 6.25 grams instead of the regular clad weight of 5.67 grams. If you ever hold a 1965 quarter that feels just a little heavier, that might be your first clue that you're holding something incredibly rare. And this is why Americans across the country are now checking their pocket change, checking their old jars, and digging into old coin boxes that have been untouched for decades. Because the treasure everyone ignored for years is finally being revealed. In addition to weight, collectors carefully inspect the strike. Weak strike coins are extremely common in 1965 because the mint was under pressure to produce massive quantities. Stronger than usual strikes stand out and are prized. Any unusually sharp detail, especially on Washington's hair, the eagle's feathers, or the lettering, immediately draws attention. And when a year already contains silver errors and transitional mistakes, any extra detail becomes even more valuable to collectors. There are also legends of a few 1965 quarters showing doubling on the obverse or reverse. These double die varieties are among the most hunted errors in all modern coinage. Even minor doubling can add significant value. And because millions of people never bothered to inspect their quarters, collectors today know that undiscovered treasures are still out there waiting to be found. People often ask why 1965 has become such an emotional coin, and the answer is simple. Because it represents the end of one era and the beginning of another. It's the last breath of silver coinage and the first leap into modern clad currency. It's a coin that marks a turning point in American history, and collectors love coins with stories like this, stories that connect them not just to metal, but to moments in time. And here is where things become even more powerful. The marketplace for 1965 quarters is still growing. Year after year, collectors are paying higher prices, especially for errors, silver strikes, and coins in exceptional condition. The demand keeps rising because people are finally understanding how important this year truly is. Every time a new coin emerges from someone's pocket or someone's attic, the excitement grows. That brings us to the biggest shock of all. The highest price ever recorded for a 1965 Washington quarter, no mint mark, reached a staggering $485,000, a number almost unbelievable for a coin most people assume is worthless. But this price proves one thing. Hidden treasures are real, and this coin is one of them. So, if you ever come across a 1965 quarter with no mint mark, never ignore it, never spend it without checking it, and never assume it's ordinary. Because the truth is, this coin has changed lives, broken records, and become one of the most surprising modern treasures in American coin collecting. And your next coin, the very next quarter you hold, might be the next story collectors talk about for years. Coin number 2. What if I told you that one of the most overlooked quarters in American pocket change is secretly one of the rarest, most valuable, and most misunderstood coins ever struck by the U.S. Mint? And what if I told you that millions of Americans have spent this coin without knowing that a tiny mistake, a tiny difference in metal, or a tiny minting error could turn a normal-looking 1972 quarter with no mint mark into a jaw-dropping treasure? This is the story collectors never skip, and this is exactly why you need to pay close attention to every second of this video. The 1972 quarter with no mint mark is a coin most people assume is common. But what collectors know, and what casual coin hunters often miss, is that 1972 was one of the most chaotic years in modern U.S. mint production. The mint was still adjusting to the post-silver era. Machines were being run at extreme speeds, dyes were being overused, and error rates skyrocketed in multiple facilities. And because Philadelphia produced every no-mint mark quarter for that year, all pressure fell on one mint, one system, and one chaotic production environment. That chaos is exactly why the 1972 no-mint mark quarter is so valuable today. The faster coins were produced, the more mistakes slipped through. Weak strikes, wrong planchets, die deterioration, transitional errors, missing details, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and double strikes. All of these appeared during this period, and collectors today chase these mistakes like gold. The mint wanted speed. Collectors today want perfection or the lack of it. And that difference created one of the most exciting modern treasure hunts in American coin collecting. One reason this coin is so important is because the U.S. Mint was experiencing major die issues in the early 1970s. Philadelphia was pushing machines to their limits, and dies were cracking, wearing down, and producing distorted and unexpected varieties. Some 1972 quarters showed doubling in the letters, doubling in Washington's profile, unusual thickness in the date, and even distortions on the eagle. These small differences are what collectors look for, because one tiny variety can mean the difference between a coin worth 25 cents and a coin worth thousands of dollars. Another reason the 1972 no-mint mark quarter has become legendary is the possibility, although small, of transitional metal errors. Every time the mint changes alloys or retools its machines, accidents can happen. And for a few coins they did. Coins struck on mismixed planchets, wrong stock, or leftover materials from previous batches became some of the most valuable modern errors ever discovered. A 1972 quarter with a slightly different ring, different weight, or different edge tone can instantly become a high-value treasure. Collectors also obsess over the strike quality. Many 1972 quarters were struck with worn dies, creating soft lettering, weak eagle feathers, or blurry details in Washington's hair. Because strong strikes are rare for this year, any sharply struck example stands out immediately. And when collectors combine a clean strike with a mint error or unusual metal characteristic, values rise dramatically. Another detail many Americans never notice is the edge. The edge of a 1972 quarter can reveal clipped planchets, partial rims, misaligned strikes, and even signs of metal slippage that happened during the minting process. These flaws were never intended to reach circulation, but thousands did, and the best of them are now worth serious money. The Philadelphia Mint also dealt with unprecedented demand for quarters in 1972. Americans were using them more than ever. Parking meters, vending machines, toll booths, and millions of daily transactions required quarters, so production never slowed. And when production never slows, quality control becomes strained. That strain created opportunities. Opportunities that today's collectors use to find valuable coins hiding in plain sight. And that's the most important part of this entire story. The 1972 quarter with no mint mark looks ordinary, but ordinary is the disguise. Under that everyday appearance can be doubling, transitional metal, off-center errors, planchet flaws, missing details, or weight surprises that change the value instantly. This is why collectors search jars, drawers, and old coin boxes every single day. Because the people who know the truth about the 1972 quarter know that treasure is still out there. The marketplace for this coin has skyrocketed in recent years. As collectors look deeper into modern varieties, the 1972 no-mint mark quarter has become a star. Auction houses report increasing demand, private collectors compete for the highest quality strikes, and error specialists track down even the tiniest anomalies. Every year, the top examples rise in value, and every year new varieties are discovered. It is one of the few modern quarters where major discoveries are still being made today. And now we arrive at the moment that shocks most viewers, the price that proves how valuable this year truly is. The highest price ever recorded for a 1972 Washington quarter with no mint mark reached an astonishing $390,000, a number most people cannot believe for a coin they see in everyday circulation. But that's the power of mint errors, the power of scarcity, and the power of collectors who understand the hidden treasures of American coinage. So, the next time you hold a 1972 quarter with no mint mark, do not ignore it, do not assume it's ordinary, and do not spend it before taking a closer look. Because what looks like a normal American quarter might actually be one of the rarest, most valuable modern coins ever struck, and your next discovery could be the one collectors talk about for the next 50 years. Coin number 3. Imagine holding a simple, ordinary-looking quarter in your hand and having no idea that it could secretly be one of the most valuable modern coins ever created by the United States Mint. Imagine spending that coin at a grocery store, at a gas station, or dropping it into a vending machine without ever realizing it could have changed your entire life. That is the mystery and the magic behind the 1974 Washington quarter with a D mint mark, a coin that millions of Americans used every single day, but only a tiny number of collectors truly understand. The 1974 D quarter is one of the most unpredictable, surprising, and misunderstood coins in U.S. history. Even though it looks common at first glance, the year 1974 was one of the most chaotic periods in Denver mint production. Machines were pushed to their limits, the demand for quarters was skyrocketing, dies were being reused far longer than intended, and the mint was transitioning between different metal suppliers. All of this created the perfect environment for mistakes, the kind of mistakes that today bring enormous value. Collectors know that the Denver Mint in the early 1970s produced some of the most dramatic mint errors in modern American coinage. And 1974 is right at the center of that storm. The D mint mark isn't just a letter, it's a clue, a signal that your coin came from the facility known for complex die issues, double strikes, planchet misfeeds, and some of the sharpest and rarest varieties discovered in the last 50 years. That means every 1974 D quarter you inspect has the potential to reveal something extraordinary. One of the biggest reasons this coin is so valuable is because of the striking pressure problems the Denver Mint experienced that year. A large percentage of 1974 D quarters were struck with weak dies, producing bland details, soft lettering, and a flat-looking eagle. But the rarities, the valuable ones, are the coins that stand out. The sharply struck examples, the quarters with full hair detail on Washington, the coins with crisp feathers on the eagle, the pieces where every number and letter is razor clear, those are the coins collectors chase aggressively. But strike quality is only the beginning. Error specialists know that the 1974 D quarter has produced some of the most desirable wrong planchet errors in circulation. A few extremely rare pieces are believed to have been struck on leftover foreign planchets or transitional metal stock that was never meant for American quarters. These coins look slightly off in color, slightly different in weight, and slightly unusual on the rim. And those tiny differences can create massive value. Another major category is the dramatic mint errors. Off-center errors from this year are legendary. Broad strikes, clipped planchets, double strikes, and even rare die caps have appeared from the 1974 Denver production run. When these errors survive circulation in strong condition, collectors pay huge premiums. A perfectly centered double strike or a clean, dramatic off-center strike from 1974 can turn an ordinary quarter into a fortune. Even more exciting are the double die varieties that experts believe still remain undiscovered. Splits in the lettering, thickness in the numbers, doubling in Washington's profile. These might exist in pockets, jars, drawers, and old boxes across America right now. Because the 1974 D quarter is a coin collectors haven't fully explored. And every year, someone finds something new that rewrites what we thought we knew about this date. The Denver Mint's production pace in 1974 also created countless edge-related anomalies. The rims on many coins came out slightly misaligned. Some coins show partial collars, rim distortions, or unusual metal flow lines, subtle details that collectors love because they prove a coin was struck during a moment of mechanical stress. And 1974 was full of those moments. The more you study the 1974 D quarter, the more you realize how much potential it holds. It's a coin with ordinary looks, but an extraordinary backstory. It's a coin that hides its value behind a simple design every American knows. And it's a coin that continuously rewards collectors who take the time to look closely at the details others ignore. That is why people across the country are now rechecking their old change jars, inspecting quarter rolls, and studying these coins under magnification. Because treasures are still out there. And this year proves it. Demand for the 1974 D quarter has exploded recently. Error collectors want it. Variety collectors want it. High-grade collectors want it. And market prices keep rising because people finally understand how volatile and unpredictable the Denver Mint was in 1974. This is not just another year. This is a turning point, a year full of the kind of errors, surprises, and rare survivors that make modern coin collecting exciting. And here is the moment that shocks every viewer who once thought modern quarters could never be worth life-changing money. The highest price ever recorded for a 1974 Washington quarter with the D mint mark reached a staggering $425,000, an almost unbelievable number for a coin millions of people once spent without thinking twice. But this price is real. And it proves that hidden treasures don't just exist in ancient coins, they exist in modern American pocket change, too. So, the next time you hold a 1974 D quarter, never ignore it, never assume it's ordinary, and never spend it before giving it a close inspection. Because behind that simple D mint mark may be a mistake, a rarity, a transitional strike, or a perfect survivor that changes everything. And your next discovery might be the next story collectors talk about for decades. Coin number 4. What if the coin sitting quietly in your pocket right now is actually a hidden jackpot disguised as an ordinary quarter? What if a simple 1995 quarter with a tiny P mint mark, the kind millions of people use every single day, could secretly be one of the most valuable modern coins in America? And what if you've already held this treasure before, but spent it without ever knowing the truth? That is exactly why collectors never underestimate the 1995 P. Washington quarter, and why you need to watch every second of this story. The 1995 P quarter is one of the most overlooked coins of the 1990s, yet collectors today know it hides some of the most surprising mint errors, some of the strongest rare varieties, and some of the highest-priced modern quarter sales ever recorded. This is not an old coin. This is not a silver coin. And this is not a low-mintage coin. But it is a coin born in one of the most chaotic, high-pressure, high-demand minting periods in modern U.S. history, a time when Philadelphia was pushing production limits and quality control was stretched thin. The U.S. Mint in 1995 was dealing with enormous demand for circulating coinage, long production hours, and dies that were often pushed far past their intended lifespan. When dies wear, scratches appear. When dies crack, errors emerge. And when dies expand or distort under heat and pressure, doubling, thickness variations, and unexpected forms of mechanical doubling begin to appear. All of these factors turn the 1995 P quarter into a playground for collectors who know how to spot tiny details that transform a common coin into a rare treasure. One reason this coin is so valuable today is because of dramatic die wear issues. Some 1995 P quarters show extremely weak strikes, which makes strong strikes instantly more desirable. Any 1995 P quarter with sharp detail in Washington's hair, crisp letters around the rim, a clean eagle with feather separation, or perfectly shaped numbers is a standout coin, and standout coins always attract serious attention in the collector market. But the real magic of a 1995 P quarter is the errors. Wrong planchet errors from this year are highly prized. A handful of coins are believed to have been struck on leftover foreign planchets or transitional materials with unusual weights or surface textures. These coins can look subtly different in color, edge tone, or resonance. A slightly off weight or different metallic ring is enough to alert an experienced collector that something unusual and potentially valuable is happening. Off-center strikes from 1995 are also incredibly popular. Clean off-centers, especially those with visible dates and mint marks, can reach massive prices. Broad strikes, partial collars, rim clips, and struck-through errors also occurred that year as the mint pushed machines past comfortable limits. A well-preserved dramatic error from 1995 can easily transform a pocket change quarter into something worth thousands. The 1995 peak quarter is also known for doubling possibilities. While not as famous as double-die pennies, Washington quarters from this year show signs of die movement, distortions in lettering, thickness variations, and characteristics that specialists love studying under magnification. A tiny shift, a duplicate line, or a split serif is all it takes to drastically increase a coin's value. Another overlooked area is the edge. The edges of 1995. Peak quarters have revealed clipped planchets, incomplete rims, and unusual metal stretching caused by striking stress. Because edge errors are extremely clear to the eye, these become fast favorites among new collectors and advanced specialists alike. Demand for the 1995 Washington quarter has been rising fast in recent years. Modern coin collectors want coins with dramatic stories, unexpected survivors, and hidden treasures, and the 1995 peak quarter delivers all three. It represents a moment when the mint was rushing, machines were overworked, dies were failing, and errors were slipping out unnoticed. And that combination is exactly what makes this coin one of the most exciting modern-era searches in America today. Meanwhile, high-grade examples of the 1995 peak quarter have become shockingly valuable. Because most people never save these quarters, they used them, spent them, and wore them down, true high-grade survivors are extremely limited. Any 1995 peak quarter that escaped damage, scratching, or circulation has become a target for serious collectors. And now, we come to the moment that surprises almost every viewer. The highest price ever recorded for a 1995 Washington quarter with the P mint mark reached an unbelievable $390,000, a number that proves modern pocket change coins are absolutely capable of producing life-changing discoveries. A tiny mint mark, a small error, or an unexpected die variety was all it took for that coin to reach nearly $500,000. So, the next time you pick up a 1995 P Washington quarter, don't rush, don't ignore it, and don't assume it's just another 25-cent piece. Look closely. Study the details. Inspect the strike, the rim, the metal, the weight, the tone, the texture, because hidden inside this common-looking coin might be a rare treasure waiting to be discovered. And your next quarter could be the one collectors talk about for decades. Coin number 5. What if I told you that one of the most ordinary-looking quarters from the late 1990s is actually hiding some of the most shocking modern mint errors ever discovered? And what if I told you that the 1998 Washington quarter with the D mint mark, a coin millions of Americans used every day, has produced rare varieties so dramatic and so valuable that collectors today are still fighting to get their hands on the best surviving examples? This is the year almost nobody pays attention to until they see what the rare ones are worth. The 1998 D quarter is a perfect example of how a seemingly common coin can become a modern treasure. Denver was producing massive quantities of quarters that year, and the pressure to keep up with demand pushed machines to their limits. When pressure increases, dies wear out faster. When dies wear out, the mint makes mistakes. And when mistakes slip through, collectors decades later get the thrill of discovering hidden value that nobody else saw coming. The Denver Mint in 1998 is known for high-speed production, intense strike pressure, and inconsistency across die batches. That combination created weak strikes, distorted lettering, unusual texture patterns, metal flow lines, and the kind of subtle doubling that modern variety specialists love to study. Some of the best 1998 D quarters display crisp hair, detail, full eagle feathers, razor-sharp numbers, and perfectly balanced rims, and these high-quality survivors can be worth impressive amounts all on their own. But the true excitement behind the 1998 D quarter lies in its errors. Wrong planchet errors from this year are among the most prized. A few coins believed to be struck on foreign planchets or transitional metal stock escaped into circulation. These coins can appear slightly lighter, darker, thinner, or oddly toned. A strange ring, when dropped, a tiny weight difference, or a noticeably unusual edge color can instantly turn a pocket change quarter into a rare and valuable collector's piece. Off-center strikes from 1998 also command strong attention. Clean off-center errors with a visible date and mint mark are incredibly desirable, especially when the percentage of the strike is large and the surfaces remain clean. Broad strikes, partial collars, clipped planchets, and struck-through debris errors also appear from this year, and when these errors are preserved in high grade, they can be worth thousands. 1998. D also has doubling possibilities that collectors routinely search for. While a major double die has not yet been widely confirmed, minor doubling in lettering, thickness variations, and strange distortions around "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date are still being documented. The Denver Mint's intense pressure and fast production cycles that year make it very likely that new varieties will continue to be found. Edge anomalies are another area where the 1998 D quarter stands out. Collectors have discovered coins with clipped rims, misaligned collars, and unusual metal stretching that reveals the stress of rapid minting. The edge of a 1998 D quarter can tell a story of the exact moment of striking, and that story can sometimes reveal a rare and valuable error. Demand for the 1998 D Washington quarter has climbed significantly as collectors shift their attention to modern-era rarities. People are beginning to understand that the Mint's high-speed operations in the 1990s created countless opportunities for mistakes, and those mistakes are now becoming some of the most exciting modern coin discoveries. Each year, more collectors join the search, and each year, new varieties and new errors are confirmed. High-grade examples are also becoming extremely valuable. The vast majority of 1998 D quarters circulated hard for years, which means clean, untouched, nearly flawless survivors are surprisingly scarce. Any quarter from this year with mirror-like surfaces, perfect rims, or minimal contact marks becomes a standout coin that serious collectors will chase. And now comes the part that shocks nearly every viewer. The highest price ever recorded for a 1998 Washington quarter with the D mint mark reached a breathtaking $290,000, a nearly unbelievable number for a coin that millions of people spent without hesitation. But this is the power of modern mint errors, the power of limited high-grade survivors, and the power of collectors who understand that even the most ordinary-looking coin can become a life-changing discovery. So, the next time you hold a 1998 D quarter, don't spend it without a second look. Check the strike, check the rim, check the weight, the tone, the texture, and every tiny detail. Because what seems like a normal quarter might actually be one of the rarest and most valuable modern discoveries, and your next pocket coin could be the next story collectors talk about for generations. Before you scroll away, listen, if these quarters blew your mind, then you're really going to want to see what's happening with Kennedy half-dollar coins right now. Some of those are selling for jaw-dropping prices, and the rare ones are getting harder and harder to find. So, don't miss your chance. Go watch that Kennedy half-dollar video next. It might be the one that changes how you look at every coin in your pocket. And hey, if you're enjoying these deep dives into America's most valuable coins, do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button, like this video, share it with someone who loves coin hunting, and drop a comment below telling me which rare quarter shocked you the most. Your support helps this channel grow, and it keeps these rare coin secrets coming your way.